And when you have a goal, you're able to get out in the life that you have. And it's not that your present life is so bad, but having a goal would help you get beyond the life that you live right now. So you can get out beyond where you are because of the goals you have. Then we also talked about how goals are like life vitamins. And then when you have goals, you have life vitamins. So they get that goals will add vitality to your life and energy to your life. It's kind of hard to be bored and lethargic when you have goals in your life. So they will provide energy for you. Session 2, we came from lesson 4 in the book, and we talked about how you had to live a balanced life, and that is how important it is to live a balanced life in what you're doing. And if you have a balanced life going on, then you can actually live much better, because it's easy to achieve a goal when you just have one area of your life going on at that particular time. But when you have more than one area going on, then you can put yourself in a situation where you can move into your life much better. So that's something that you also have as well. So we talked about the 9 areas where I think you should have goals. One area is you should have, we did this on an alphabetical basis pretty much. And we talked about you should have goals in your career, your education, your finances, your health, material things, your recreational life, relationships, spiritual life, and volunteering. Now that means that your whole life is pretty much covered, right? And a lot of times we get out of balance because we have goals in one area. And I gave you the example how when I first started getting into goal setting, that all my goals were pretty much in one area, pretty much dominated in things with finances or monies or things. Well, that's okay to have money. It's okay to have goals for money. It's okay to have goals for things. But then I was missing out on other things in my life. Like I didn't have goals for my relationships. I didn't have goals for recreational time. I didn't have goals for education and career and all these different things. So all I did was run around and just put out fires. I'll be in this one area of my life and, trying to get all the money I can get. And then something else will happen in my life. The doctor said, man, you can get your health together, man. You're gonna be out of here if you don't get it together. So now I get all healthy and try to get myself all healthy. And after I put that fire out in my health, then something else will show up and say, hey, man, you need to get something done with your relationships. And I run over there and put my fires out in relationships. Then I look up again and something else will be on fire. My career's on fire. Then I run over there and try to find things in that area. And what I did and what I found out, like I explained to you last time for those who weren't at the last session, is that I found out all I was doing in life was running around just putting out fires. And the only time I actually dealt with an area in my life is when it caught on fire, so to speak. And then now I'm trying to give it some attention because of the fact that it caught on fire. So I'm trying to put all the water out and everything so I can get my life together. Well, that's when I realized, obviously, my life was a big life. Unfortunately, no one ever told me my life was big. I thought my life was very small and, just on a salsa, as I put it. But I realized my life was big and I needed to get it off a salsa and put it on a big old platter. And you may think the same thing, because no one area is more important than the other area. Because you can be dominated in one area and have all these goals in one area and look like you're doing really, really well. But then the rest of your life is falling apart because of the fact that you don't have goals in it. So I shared with you in that last session, if you're in a hole, set a goal. And if you don't set a goal, it won't long before you find yourself in a hole. And that's really what happens to all of us. Any area of your life where you're sitting in a hole is an area of your life where you probably didn't have a goal. And when you don't have goals set in every area of your life, you're going to have a bunch of holes in your life. And that's what we call a holy life, but not a holy life like HOLY, right? Not that type of life. You're going to have a HOLEY, because your life is going to be holy because you're going to have all these holes in your life because you don't have any goals in your life. So today we're coming from lesson 7 from the book. And we're going to talk a little bit about, because I've talked a lot thus far about having a goal, but I really haven't talked about the strategies on setting a goal, right? And so I'm going to spend some time on that in this session here. You're going to have to get good at setting goals, but here's something that you first have to understand: that when you have this total life, because you want to be in a total life achiever, right? And like I shared with you once before, that if you have goals in every area of your life, then you can become a total life achiever. Now, you can have more than one goal in any area of your life. You don't have to just have one goal in there. You can have 5 goals in this and 3 in that, and 18 in this one and 12 in that. That doesn't mean your life is out of balance, because some areas of your life, you just may have more goals. But what we want to prevent, see, that's not a bad thing. We want to make sure we don't have any areas of our life without a goal. That's what we want to prevent. So if we have 2 goals in this area and 4 in that one and 20 in this one and 10 in that one, That's okay, because all the areas of our lives have goals, and that's okay, right? But again, we just don't want to go through life and have 2, 4, 8, and then 0, 0, 1. We don't have a life like that, because what ends up happening is that if you have these holes in your life, it won't be long before these things start to discourage you, and you might become extremely excessive in then one area only. And then now these things are really looking bad after a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You just haven't had a goal set or achieved in that area at all. So since you want to be a total life achiever, and part of the word achieve is what we get in the English word with the part achieve, we get the word chef. And so when you're a total life achiever, you're always cooking up goals. You're always cooking up something. And it makes sense now, right? That you're always cooking up something, because you're always cooking up something in your spiritual life. You're cooking up something in your health. You're cooking something up in your education and your career and your relationships and recreational and volunteering and all these different areas, right? Finances. So you're cooking up goals all the time. So there's always something for you to do, because there's always a goal for you to achieve, or there's always a goal for you to work on. So either you're working, either you're cooking up some goals by working on them, or you are actually achieving some goals, meaning that you're eating the goals that you have actually achieved, right? So you're doing one of the things. That's what makes you a total life achiever. That makes you a go-getter in my definition. So when we're talking about goals, and I kind of ended the last session off as saying that your goals should mean something to you. All your goals should mean something to you, right? And if they don't mean anything to you, then it's kind of hard to make sure you do what you're going to do to actually get them, right? If they don't mean anything to you, then why be bothered with them? So if things don't mean anything to you, that means you're not really thinking about them a lot, right? So if you don't think about the goal a lot, then it's kind of hard for you to say it means something to you. So before we kind of get into like setting the goal, let's kind of define, so to speak, what a real goal is. Because we had a real goal. What is a real goal? Is a goal just something that I want that I don't have? Now we can use that as a blanket statement and use that as the beginning of trying to get into this goal setting type of lifestyle. Yeah, something that I want that I don't have. But just because I want it and I don't have it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a real goal for me, right? And what something mean to one person can mean something totally different to another person, even though it's the same thing. You can give what $100 bill may mean to one person may mean something totally different to another person, even though the $100 bill is still a $100 bill, right? Well, what your goals mean to you, they're your goals, so they should mean something to you. So let's look at this. So one area that your goal could be considered as, it can be considered a like, right? And with likes, you said, here's an example. A like is something you watching a movie on television, and they drive around with a fancy car or have a big old house. You say, "Woo, I'd like to have something like that," right? And you could say, "Well, that's a goal. I'd like to have a big old house like that." But really, it's just a like. And see, things about a likes, you will only do the things you like to do when you like to do them, right? Which is very seldom, right? You're very seldom. Now, when you seen the house on the television screen or in the movie, you're like, "Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, look at all those bedrooms. I like that." But that's not really a goal for you, even though you like to have it, right? So you don't want just a like, right? Because that's what it could be. You can be a like. Another thing, your goal, this thing on your list that you say you have, is a want. You can say, "Yeah, I want to have that," right? And a want is a little bit better than a like, but it's still a want. And the thing with a want, you only gonna do the things you want to do when you want to do them, right? If you don't want to do it, you're not gonna do it. So then you're probably not gonna get the goal, because it's just a want. And it's good to have a want, desire, but see, wants aren't real goals, because again, you only gonna do what you want to do when you want to do them. So a real goal is really a need. If you need to have it, then you can call that a goal. So that's what I call a real goal. It's a need. Do I need that big old house? And if someone pressed me on that big old house I seen on television or in the movie that I was watching, then I'll be like, "Well, I really don't need that big old house," right? But when you heard me talk an hour ago, I said I like to have that house, but I really don't need that house. I just said I like to have it because it looked nice. Okay, so a real goal is a need. Because here's the thing that's different with a need, that's different than a want and a like. A need is something that we will only do the things we feel we need to do to get the things we feel we need to have. If we don't feel we need to have it, then we don't do what we feel we need to do to get it. Now, see, that's how our whole life is. This is why we all run around, put out fires. See, that's how come I put out fires all the time. Because when the thing caught on fire, I needed to put the fire out, right? When the relationship caught on fire, I needed to put the fire out. When the bank account got low, I need to put more money in it. When they say they're going to come take the house or the car or the boat, the plane, I need to go out and put, try to keep that boat, plane, house, whatever, right? Whatever that need is. So that's how we all kind of operate, unfortunately. We only get active and do stuff that we need to do. Now, to a certain degree, that's good because we all know how to take care of needs, right? However, we never usually make the goals that we want, the needs that we want, right? We don't say, hey, I need to earn this much money, or I need to do this in my relationships, or I need to help volunteer feed the homeless, or I need to pray or whatever, right? We don't put all these things as needs. We just keep them as likes and wants. So the reality is, if the goal or the thing that you say that you want that you don't have, if it never gravitates or get up to the level of being a necessity, chances of us achieving it is pretty much non-existent. We'll just talk about it, right? And we get good at talking about, yeah, big old house, yeah, $1 million, yeah, whatever, right? I'm gonna lose those 50 pounds. I like to lose those 50 pounds. I would want to use those 50 pounds, but I haven't got to the place where I need to lose those 50 pounds. But then when the doctor say, listen, if you don't get your game together, you're going to be in trouble. You won't be able to walk, talk, whatever, right? And all of a sudden, whoa, I got to lose this 50 pounds. The doctor said I won't be able to walk or whatever, right? So now we're going to start losing weight because the doctor said, if you don't get it together, it's going to be worse than what it is right now. So now we're going to we turn that goal of losing 50 pounds. Now it became a need. But why didn't it become a need 4 or 5 years ago? Because I didn't feel I needed to do anything about it. I was just dealing with it. I was handling it. I like to lose the weight or I like to earn the money, but I never needed to earn the money, right? But then they say, hey, we got to do something to help your family member. It's going to take so much money to help them, with medical assistance or something like that. All of a sudden, like, whoa, I need to help. How much is it going to cost? Now we go out there and get the money we need to help this family member out and maybe a health crisis or something like that, right? So you need to get good. I know I had to get good and start working on, I had to make these things needs. Now, I knew that all these things couldn't be needs at the same time, but I had to make them needs. So when I started making things needs, then they became more achievable for me because now I'm cooking up some goals and making ways to actually get those. So keep in mind, here's something that you want to kind of have etched in your mind. You will only do the things you need to do to get the things you need to have. If you don't need to have them, you won't do what you need to do to get them. So if that's the case, that means that we got to have all these goals again in my spiritual life. I need to ask myself a question because I told you life is questioning you, right? So you got to ask some questions to yourself. Do you need to have that relationship goal or those relationship goals that you have? Now, if you say right now, no, I don't need to have it, because you got to tell yourself the truth, right? No, I don't really need to have it. I mean, do you need to get married like by the end of the week? Well, no, I really don't need to get married by the end of the week. I mean, like, I don't really need to do that, right? Maybe by the end of the year, maybe by the end of the decade, right? I don't need to get married right now by the end of the week, right? So now you start looking at your life more honestly. And then do you need really to earn like $50,000 a month? Well, I don't need to earn $50,000 a month, maybe $5,000, right? Or maybe, maybe $1,500, maybe $2,500. I don't know what, maybe $10,000. I don't really need to earn $50,000. Yeah, $50,000 a month would be nice, but it's not a need for me. I don't even know what I do with all that money. That's what a person would say, right? Because it's not a need. But if you needed to earn $50,000 to get that house you said you like, that big old mansion, it's going to cost you to live like a $50,000 a month. Then all of a sudden this stuff match. So this is something that you have to realize with goals, that goals in one area can actually impact another area in your life. Here's an example. Let's suppose you said, well, I want to get a promotion on my job. They said, well, you can get a promotion on your job. However, what you have to do, you got to get another degree, or you got to get a certificate, or you got to get a license or something like that. So you're like, oh man, but I want to earn more money. I said, well, if you get this degree or you get this certification, then you can earn more money than you're earning right now. So all of a sudden now, when you go out there educationally, this is your educational goal. Hey, by the end of the year, I'm gonna get this certification. I'm gonna get this next degree. So you say, I need to get it. Well, once you get the degree, then that triggered in another area of your career, it got you promoted or got you a better job or whatever it may have been. So that one goal in the degree got you a better job over here. well, then you end up getting more money, right? So it helped your finances because you said, oh, I want to save more money. I want to pay off my car or whatever, right? So now you have more money, that you earn more money because you got a promotion, right? So maybe you want to move to another state. You know, you want to move to a warmer place, colder place, east, west coast, or whatever. Well, because of the more money that you have now, you can move now to that other place. So that one goal of getting a degree was able to help you achieve other goals in other areas of your life, and it helped put your life in a better situation. So now you have gotten beyond your life in many different areas of your life, pretty much all at the same time. So this is why it looks like to some people that people are actually accomplishing or achieving a lot of things all the time, because these goals are so related to one another. They intertwine to one another. Because let's say, for instance, you say, hey, one of my goals is buying me, I don't know, a new wardrobe or whatever, right? I'm at this weight, but I want to buy something at a smaller weight. Well, if you lose weight, right, that's one goal, but then that was able to put you in a situation so you can get back into your other clothes that was a smaller size, or buy a new wardrobe. So it kind of did a couple of different things at the same time because of the fact that you had these goals in different areas of your life. So this is what happens when you have these goals. So if you don't make it a need, then it really can't do anything good for you until you get it there. And sometimes it may take a while before it become a need. What we want to prevent from happening, we don't want life to put us in the situation that now it's a need. We don't want life to put us in the situation that now invest some money, right? Or here's another example. I have older children now, but at one time, like your children, if you have any, or you know anybody that have children, my children were at one time, they were younger children, right? They were babies. Now, excuse me, when my children were babies, they came on the scene, boom, here they are. Now, they've been here a month or whatever, 2 months. I was not thinking about college tuition. Now, I know I probably should have been thinking about college tuition, but college tuition wasn't a need for me then. What was a need for me then was diapers and milk and, all the stuff that babies need, right? That was more important. That was my need at the present time. Now, I'm not saying that college was not important, but when they were 2 months old, college was not on my mind. Now, you might say, oh, you're just a terrible father. You're a terrible father. Hey, call me what you like. It wasn't a need, right? When it became a need, I started acting a little bit different when certain things happened in their lives, right? But at the time they were 2 months old, 3 months old, I needed diapers. I need to find can I get a bundle of diapers? Can I get a bulk of diapers? I need more milk and all these different things, right? More bottles, all the stuff that goes along with a baby, because that's where my need was in my life at the time. But life pressed me at that time to get diapers. Well, they got a little bit older and I stopped paying tuition, then it pressed me again. I didn't need diapers. I needed a monthly tuition that could put them in school, right? So these things changed for me because of the fact that my life was changing. Well, I found out I was living my life kind of reactive. I wasn't living my life on purpose. What do I mean by that? I knew that eventually when they get 5, 6 years old, they got to go to this type of school. I knew that 5 years prior to them going there, right? I knew this was going to happen because they're going to get bigger, right? I knew that they were going to be in extracurricular activities. So I had to have money and things like that and time to be involved with those things. Well, this is when I really start trying to focus on my goals a little bit better and saying, okay, stop waiting till stuff happen to you and then trying to react, again, putting out a fire, instead of saying, okay, this is looking at your life from a sky view, right? That, hey, as you get older, you need more money saved, right? So maybe as you start investing a little bit more money, a little bit differently than maybe you did when you were 25. See, I'm 25. I'm going all out, trying to hit home runs by trying to invest because I got time. I'm 25. But when I turned 50, I didn't have the same mentality I had when it came to investing at 50 than I did at 25. 25, I probably was a little bit more reckless. I was a little bit more riskier, if you want to say. And when I got 50, I'm like, oh, man, shoot, you're getting older. You got to start doing some things a little bit differently than you did at 25. You can't just be investing in all that stuff and see what happens. You got to kind of plan that, hey, one day you're going to be 55. One day you're going to be 65. Hey, one day you're going to be 75. So you had to make different plans. So when you start having goals in your life, again, I told you last session, when you have goals in your life, goals plug holes. If you have holes in your life, then that means that you don't have goals in your life. But here's the thing. Like I said with you last session, goals are how you lean into the future. And if you're not leaning into the future, you're going to always lean back into the past. And that's why your whole conversation will always be about yesterday. Hey, man, when I was on the football team and when I was 12 years old, man, you 62, right? I mean, you have nothing else to talk about. You're not talking about when you're 72, the goals you have. But see, this is what happens when we don't have goals and when we're not around a bunch of goal achievers or go-getters, as I call them as well. Now, here's something for you, because again, I talked about having a goal. I talked a lot about that, and I keep talking about that. But now we have to set a goal, because now we know a goal is a need. So here's a story, for example. It was this young couple, husband and wife, where they weren't husband and wife, so they got married, right? Well, young couple, they getting married. So before they got married, they thought about, maybe we should buy a house, they just, they got good jobs, and, things of that nature, got a little money saved. So they're in a pretty good situation. So they're talking to each other. Well, we should get a house, man, before we get married or after we get married, right when we get married, get a house. So after they talked a little bit about it, they convinced themselves that they didn't need a house right now. They just let's get an apartment because it's just us, right? At the end of every year, they say, maybe we should get a house and get a house. But they convinced themselves, just us. We'll need a house. It's 1-bedroom apartment. It's cool. It's just you and I. Second year, they did the same thing. Maybe we should get a house. Don't worry about it. Convinced themselves that they didn't need a house, so they didn't get one. Third year, the wife gets pregnant, right? By the husband, that is. Right? So the wife gets pregnant, right? And so now they like, oh, now you think, man, okay, this kind of motivate them because they got a 1-bedroom apartment. Now, she's pregnant. Maybe they want to get a house now because they got, this baby coming. Well, no, that didn't motivate them enough because they convinced themselves they still didn't need a house because the baby is small. They don't need to get a house. Baby small. They can put them in a little crib, a bassinet or whatever. Baby don't do much. They little, itty bitty, right? So what they need a house for, right? So, going to the 4th year, they said, well, we need to get a house. No, we don't need to get a house. Well, 3-4 months later, after the 4th year and everything, wife gets pregnant again, right? So it's like, wow, they said maybe we should get a house, but they still convinced themselves they really need a house because the other baby was kind of small, this baby not coming for a while. And, maybe we can still work with this 1-bedroom apartment. Well, then a couple of weeks later, after, the wife and the husband knew that, they have another baby coming, the wife mother calls. And the wife mother says, oh, wow, the apartment building that your dad and I stay in, they get ready to convert the apartment building over to condominiums. And, we on a fixed income and, we won't be able to stay here. They're giving us about, 3 to 6 months to move out of here because they're converting to condominiums. They are giving us first right to buy some, but we can't afford to stay here when they raise the prices up to that. Oh, my God. So they said, we're going to have to move. My mom and dad kind of a little bit older and, they relatively close, as far as distance. So, the husband and wife said, we got to, we're going to have to go find us a house so we can move mom and dad in the house with us. And everything. We got these baby, got this one baby, got another baby coming. So within a couple of weeks, they talked to a real estate professional and everything, and started talking about buying a house and went out there look for houses and everything. Within 90 days, they closed on the house. Now the question I need to ask: now they had good credit and all that, had money saved and all these different things. Why did it take them almost 5 years to buy a house when they wanted to buy the house 5 years ago? And here's why it took them 5 years to buy the house: because the house never became a need for them to have. When they situations happened in their life that put them in a situation where the house now was a need, they found some professionals, they got themselves together and was able to move in with mom and dad had a spot in the house. They had a spot and they had room for the 2 children, one they had already and one that was coming. But this all happened because the circumstances in their life forced them to make what they wanted and got it from a like and a want and put it in a need. So this is what happens sometimes when we're in life. But we have to kind of be proactive and say, I need that. Now, here's one reason why we don't make something like getting a big house or whatever we say we want, making it a need, because we think we have to explain that to other people why we need it. If a person say, hey, you know what? I want 4 cars. And then we feel that we have to explain that to somebody why I want 4 cars. Or I want a big house in that neighborhood. You 60 years old. Why you want a big old house like that? You about old as dirt. You don't need no big old house like that. You need a small place, right? And so we think that we have to explain our decisions on the things that we said we like or we want or the things that we need. So we don't put those things that we really do probably have a high desire and really want it. We don't make those needs because we think we got to explain that to mom and dad. We got to explain that to son or daughter. We got to explain that to brother, sister, cousin, people at my job. We, especially the older we get, right? The older we get, we can't act like we want to get something in life. Like, oh no, don't you know you're 50 years old? Don't you know you're 68? What are you doing trying to go back to school? You're 68 years old. Who gonna let you in a building? You too old. You know who go? You've been a security guard this long, and now you're gonna try to be a super security guard? Don't you know you 59? You old, man. You about to retire. So now this is why a lot of us don't actually go get some of those things or make those things needs because of the fact that we feel we need to explain. Here's my take on that. If these are your goals and this is your life, the reality is you don't need to explain what you want for your life. Now, if you're doing something bad, you robbing banks and everything, you know, somebody should try to talk you out of that, right? But if it's something that you want to do, you want to get into another investment, you want to do something else with your weight. Yeah, you know, you look real good now, but maybe you want to look better. There's nothing wrong with that. You had short hair all this time. Now you want long hair. Nothing wrong with that either. Hey, you worked for a corporation for all these years. Now you want to be an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with that either, even though you've been retired for 5 years already. And this the same thing happens on the other side if you are a younger person. Yeah, you're 24 years old. Yeah, you went to college for this, but you don't think you want to do that anymore. You want to do something different. Well, guess what? If you make it a need, then go out there and do those things if you make it a need or a goal for you. Because it's your life and it's your goals. And it's okay if they're your goals because nobody else, if you wait on somebody else to set a goal for you, chances are they be setting a goal for them and you just gonna make it happen for them. It's not your goal, it's their goal they're setting on you for them. You need to learn how to set your own goals for you, and they need to be set by you too. So when you have real needs are very good at convincing you that you need to have them. See, likes don't do a real good job at convincing you. One thing about a like, you can talk yourself out of a like. You can talk yourself out of a want, but you can't talk yourself out of a need. A need will have you convinced that you need to have it. See, this is why I shared with you once before that a lot of the problems that you have, you want to know where you should set goals first? You need to look at some of the problems that you have in your life. This doesn't mean you're a bad person, but if you have a problem in your life, that already give you an indication that you got a need in your life too. And goals are solutions. So let's talk about setting goals for a moment. So when you're setting goals, because if you don't set the goal, it's going to be hard to get the goal. You can't get goals you haven't set. And any type of goal you set, it puts you in a better position to get the goal that you set. So if you don't have any goals set or you don't know how to set goals, then you won't probably do a good job at getting goals. Now, setting goals is more than just putting stuff on a sheet of paper, right? It's more than that. Like, okay, I want this house, this car. I want to be this weight, this size. I want, have this many investments, all these different things, right? I want to be like this spiritually, and I want my relationship to be all like this, right? That's okay. Putting it on paper is the beginning, but putting it on paper does not mean it's set. So the first thing you need to understand about setting a goal is that goals must be specific. If your goal is not specific, then that means that you probably won't get good at setting it. So you got to be definite about the goals you want, meaning that you need to define the goals that you said the needs that you have. You need to define them. Now defining the goals. So when you first putting the list together and you say, I want this for my life, normally you're not defining it. I want a new car, and you might come up with the brand, but you're just saying, I want this type of car, this type of year, right? That's fine. But now when you start defining the goal or describing the goal in more detail, then now what you're doing, you're making the goal a little bit more applicable to getting involved with your life. So you're defining the car, you're defining the weight, you're defining what weight you want to be in, and you're defining what you want for health and how many times you're going to run and where you're going to run. You're defining where you want to go to school, what classes you're going to take in the fall, what class you're going to take in the spring. What school are you going to go to? Are you going to do online classes or are you going to go in person? So you're defining all this now, right? You're defining that what you plan on doing as recreational time. You're going to read this book on the weekend. You're going to go check out this restaurant next weekend. These are your recreational things. You're defining, I'm going to this type of restaurant over here. I'm defining, I'll get a car. It's going to be blue. And it's going to be this. And it's going to be this year. It's going to have all this different stuff in it. Then you define it. You're getting very, very specific in what that goal is for you, right? You're going to define where you're going to go and volunteer some time. I'm going to volunteer some time over here, and I'm going to do that every third Saturday over there. Yeah, every third Saturday, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to help the little kids learn how to read. Or I'm going to clean up the neighborhood every third Saturday. I'm going to go to the senior building and help them out. I'm going to do this with the church. right? You're getting more specific or you're getting more definite. And when you're not definite about the goals or the needs you have, that means you're going to be indefinite. And when you're indefinite about something, that means you're vague. Now this is when things start being like, this is why things can change our mind. We said we wanted a blue car, right? That's what we said we wanted, right? But then a car that a yellow car come along, totally different make and model and everything, totally different year, and that's the car we buy. But we said we wanted a blue car and wanted that brand and wanted that year. But see what happened was maybe we wasn't definite enough, and that's why we didn't take nothing but another car, yellow car, to come along, and then that's the car I bought. Didn't really like it, but instead of the blue car, I guess I get this because we weren't definite in the goal. So you want to be definite in what you actually say that you want as a goal, right? Now, the second step is you want to realize that you want to actually establish something within yourself. All set goals are establishing something, right? And if you look at the word establish, they have the root word called stable, or where we get the word stable from. So your life is only as stable as the goals you have set in your life. If you don't have set goals in your finances, then your finances won't be stable. Why? Because you don't have set goals in your finance. Yeah, you can want 5 more investments, but they're not set investments in your life. So that means your finances can be unstable. And anything that's unstable is always moving, right? You wouldn't, if you had a table and one of the legs are kind of shaky on the table and everything, either you're going to get rid of the table if you're not going to fix that leg on the table, or you're not going to put anything on that end of the table. And if anybody else kind of look at that side of the table, you say, hey, whoa, don't put nothing over there. Because you know that table going to fall. Why? Because it's not stable. And when we're unstable with our life, a lot of times you look in your life, any area where you're unstable, I'm telling you, you probably don't have set goals there. If you're unstable in your relationships, you don't have set goals there. If you're unstable with your spiritual life, you're probably unstable there. If you're unstable with your health, then you probably don't have set goals there. It's any area of your life where you don't have these set goals, you have instability hanging around you all the time, right? Now the other area is your goal is a target for you. And anything that's a target, now I want you to see the progression of this, right? You're definite about what you want, right? It's established, right? And it's a big old target for you. See, for me, when it comes to setting goals, I like to use acronyms a lot to help me remember what I'm trying to do in my own life and keep it simple for me. So for me, specific, established, target. That's set. So see, a target is not moving. Now, some people are real good. They can hit moving targets, right? You know, they shooting at a bird in the sky, whatever they hit moving targets or whatever, right? That's what they do. But you know, one of the simplest things to do in life is to hit a big old stationary target. If we had a big old stationary target 20 feet from you that was 10 by 10, the chances of you missing that thing is very slim. If I say, hey, throw it over there and hit that big old box there, 10 by 10, 10 feet by 10 feet, right? It's 20 feet away. You feel pretty confident that, you know what, I can hit that big old thing there, right? And this is why defining your goal is so important, because it helps your target get bigger, gets clear for you to see. If it's not clear for you to see, it's going to be unclear for you to see, and you're probably not going to have it because you can't see it. You know, it's not clear. You know, it's small, right? So now you're trying to hit something that you can barely see, and now it's moving. See, real goals or real needs don't move, but real goals or real needs will make sure you do, that you move. See, when all people say, well, I'm running around I'm chasing these goals, man, set goals don't go anywhere. It's like a stick in cement. When the cement is wet, you can put a stick in there, take it out and all that stuff. But once that cement get hard, that stick is in that cement. That's how goals are. Once that thing get hard, right, when you got it established, now the goal is set. It's not going to move, but you should be moving toward it. If you are chasing a goal, chasing around trying to find it, it means the goal has not been set by you. Because if you chasing it, it's not set. You don't have to chase something that's already established. You don't. If your car, for instance, you walk out your house right now, your car in front of your house in your garage or whatever it is, right? You're not saying I got to chase my car to get in it. Right? You're like, oh, I'm trying to get in it, but it's moving. It's trying to get out of the way. It's going to the left, going to the right. And you say, what's going on? Who in my car? And my car moving, me not in it, right? Right? What's going on with that? But if your car is right there, once you get in it, because it's there, you can move it. Same thing with your house. How many times have you came home your house and moved around the corner? Hey man, I came home, my whole house was moved. What happened? I don't know what type of house you got that's moving like that, But where your house is, when you leave and come back, it's still there. Well, that's how it is with goals. Once you set them, they don't move, but you should be moving. This is why it's hard to be bored in life, right? This is hard when people say, well, I'm bored, I don't have enough to do. How do you not have enough to do if you have a lot of goals set? See, you got that big old target. You can't wait to hit it, because once you get the goal is in your life, but at the same time, the goal has expanded your life further than it was prior than you were, because you got out and live, right? That's what a goal is. Get out and live. So your life has gotten bigger because you got expanded yourself and expanded your goal. If your goal is moving around, blowing through the wind, this is why we would end up meandering through life, right? We just kind of like just going to and fro, right? Wind blow east, we go east. Wind blow west, we go west, right? Because of the fact that nothing is established for us. And when something gets established, when you set something up and set a, get specific and establish a target, then now you can move toward it and hit it, because your goal wants you to have it just as much as you want to have it. But if something you have to chase, you got to chase the girl around. If I got to chase you around, you know what they're saying? I don't think you want me, right? I don't think they want me. I'm going to chase them all over the place, right? But if something you don't have to chase, that means that it wants you just as much as you want it, right? So if you want a new car, you want a new house, you want to gain weight, lose weight, get healthy, whatever it may be, just think, what is my specific established target? What is it? And now I can move toward it, and I can have something to do. So now I can be up in my life cooking up some goals, right? Now, all this does for you, when you look at it in a totality, all this really does is solidify your life, right? A lot of us, and I know many times in my life just was not a solid life. And that means that my life was crumbling all the time. Not because I was a bad guy. My life was crumbling because I was bad at setting goals, right? I wasn't bad as a person, but so now when you bad at setting goals and you don't have all these goals and you have all these gaps in your life from your 25 to 28 and 31 to 39, you got all these gaps in your life. It's kind of hard to look at your life positively when you have all these gaps in your life. This is why you have to start today, and whatever today is for you. If it's 55 years old, so be it. If it's 71 years old, so be it. If it's 19 years old, so be it. If it's 35, so be it. Start today, putting yourself in position and start having set goals in your life. Now, here's something that I used back in the day, and I use some things a little bit different with a planner, but getting a notebook, right? A wire-bound notebook. And then with these goals that you have, you write these goals at the top of the page. You might put, financial goals, right? Another top of the page, you put health goals, and another page, career goals, in all 9 areas, right? Career, educational, financial, health, material, recreational, relationships, spiritual, and volunteer, right? So each one of them may have their own page. And as I, have a goal, I put it on that page, right? Put it on, and some of those goals, again, will be more than others. Because the truth of the matter is, some of us are more dominated in our life by different things. Some people are very dominated in things that's spiritual. So a lot of their goals, they may have 20 spiritual goals, right? And some people may be dominated in career, right? Which is okay. They might have 20 career goals. Some people may be dominated in their health. They have 20 health goals. But the thing is that on each one of those sheets, you want to have something there. I remember when I was trying to kind of do a few things healthy and everything. And one of my goals was to do 5,000 push-ups within a year. Now somebody else said, man, that ain't nothing. Well, it was something for me, right? That was one of my yearly goals, to do about 400 some odd push-ups every month, right? 100 or so a week. That was what my goal. So I was crossing these off the list, right? Now somebody said, man, that's nothing, man. I do 100 push-ups at one time. Hey, I'm happy for you, man. 1 did 4, right? It took me a week to do mine, right? But by the 9th month of the year, I had accomplished that goal of 5,000. Next year, I said, well, I'm going to do 10,000, right? Then I added on, I'm going to do 10,000 push-ups, and I'm going to do 5,000 sit-ups, right? And then the next year, I said, hey, I'm going to do something. I'm going to save $20 a month, and then I'm going to do $10 a month, whatever. So what happens is I got on this path of this goal-achieving type path, right? And I was accomplishing goals because, see, here's the reality in life. Sometimes you're not always in the best situation in every area of your life. What do I mean? Sometimes maybe your money gets short. right? And if all you had was financial goals, you made a few things happen in your life, so it's out of your control. Maybe you made a few financial mistakes, whatever it may have been, right? So I remember when my finances were low, real low one time. And I was like, man, my finances messed up. It's going to take me a little while to get this thing back together. And but then, it's kind of warm outside. So, well, one thing I can do, I can go exercise. That don't cost me any money, right? I can run around the park 4 times a week or whatever, right? Because it didn't cost me any money, but then it was still achieving a goal, which was my health goal. Hopefully that makes sense to you. That you can always, if you have goals in your life, even though everything is not going to always go perfect in your life. I have not lived a perfect life. Haven't had that going on in my life. It's always something going on in my life, like it's always something going on in everyone else's life. But having a lot of goals in your life will keep your life moving, or you'll know where your life is going. And then when your money get caught back up, then you say, I can do this thing with my money now, But each goal gives you the confidence that you can achieve other goals, not just in that area, but you can achieve other goals in many other areas of your life at the same time. So when your life is like that, you have this solid life. Your life is solidified by the goals that you have. The more goals you have, the more solid your life will. Now, in session 1, I came up and told you, and I said I was going to revisit this again, and I'm revisiting it now, that I share with you that your life or your needs are really nothing but problems that you have. You have problems in your life. That does not mean you are a problem. It just means you have problems. And that's what your needs show you. Your needs show you that you have problems in your life, and you need to actually put yourself in a position to solve the problem. And that's why your goals are so important, because your goals are solutions to the problems that you have. So I broke it down, and I'll do it again. Pro means forward, right? Anytime you see the word, the prefix pro in a word, it means forward. And blim in that word means to throw. So when you have these problems or these needs, they're there to throw you forward, not to throw you backwards. But see, if you don't have any goals in your set in your life or set, then what happened is you're not gonna ever lean into the future. You're gonna always lean back into the bad. They're gonna always throw you back into yesterday. Remember last time you went broke? Remember last time you had that bad relationship? Remember last time you couldn't lose weight? It's gonna always throw you back there because of the fact that you don't have goals to help you lean into the future. Now, there's another word that go along with that problems, is that it's promise. Again, pro means forward, and M-I-S-E means to send. Now, when you have to send something, that's deliberate. When you sending something, you send an email out, you deliberately did that. You send a letter in the mail, you deliberately did that, right? You send money to a charity, you deliberately did that. So when you're sending something out, a promise, that's something you do deliberately, right? So when you have a promise, you're sending that forward. This is why goals are so important. You're sending out a promise, sending forward to meet a problem that's been thrown forward. Now your problem is going to throw you anyway. You need to have goals so when your problems arrive, they can throw you into a promise that you have. This is what makes you a promise keeper. And you're not a promise keeper prior to everybody, but you need to be a promise keeper to yourself. You need to be you said that you want to save $25 a month or $50 a month or whatever it may be, then you need to keep that promise to yourself. And you don't have to tell the whole world that you save $50 or whatever it may be, but you have to keep that promise to yourself, because that's how you actually know where you are going financially. That's how you know where you're going at the end of the month. You say, I saved $50. Again, nobody's going to have a parade for you because you saved $50. But last month you saved $0. So this month you did something you didn't even do last month, even though it was only $50. Last month you had, you didn't lose any weight. This month you lost 5 pounds, right? So you are actually moving forward, right? You actually sent something forward deliberately, that because you have goals. So you're leaning into your future. And so when you have goals, they help solve present day problems, but they also put you in a position to solve a future problem. Because if you already got the solution, then you won't have the problem, because you have already made the promise to keep your weight at this state. You already made the promise to keep your spiritual life at a certain place. You already made the promise to yourself to actually go out there and help someone in charity. You already made a promise to yourself to actually do something with your health. You did that already because you are an achiever. Because in your life, you always cooking up some goals. You always got something going on. And see, sometimes because we don't hang around the right people, we don't hang around the right people. And when we don't hang around the right people, guess what we end up doing? We end up not having goals at all. And then we get around these same people that think that is a good idea to be goalless individuals. And life is too short for you to be a goalless person. It's too short. However, it is long enough for you to fulfill or fill your life up full of goals in your life in any area of your life that you have. So your solutions are ways that you know to solve your problem. Here's another example. If you know how to save $50, using money in this example, you do the same thing. You can save $50 again this month. That's why we call it a resolution. So you don't need to make a resolution just once a year. You can make a resolution every month if you want to. You can make a revolution every week if you want to. You can make a revolution every quarter if you want to. Because here's what happened on December 31st every year, 11:59. We counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! But that same thing that happened at 11:59, going into December 31st, 11:59, going into January 1st, the same thing happened at midnight. Is another day has started. It's just called January 1st. Well, you know what? How about if you got excited because you got 364 more days in the year, you can do the same thing. You can get excited and say, "Hey, it's January 31st, and I'm going into February 1st," and you can say, "Happy New Month," right? You can do that anytime you want. You can do every Sunday night, 11:59, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Week, right? You can do that, and you can use the same solutions you had last week, last month, last year, and you can use those same solutions this week, this month, or this year. So that's why you shouldn't be afraid of resolutions, because you can make a resolution any time of the year you want to. You don't just have to wait for December 31st to January 1st. Could you imagine? Now, it may be hard for a lot of us to do this, right? Could you imagine being excited every day? Like, man, I can't wait. Man, this year going to be my year. You know, we do that every year, right? December 31st. Could you imagine doing that every Sunday night? Man, this is going to be my week. This is going to be my week. Or every Tuesday. Man, this Wednesday is going to be my Wednesday. Every Friday. This is going to be my Saturday. Could you imagine being that excited that many times throughout the year? Well, if you're a goal getter, things like that can happen. If you're always cooking up some goals, things like that can happen. But if you're not cooking up goals, if you're not a total life achiever, then you'll just wait on December 31st again. And then eventually you're going to get despondent. I don't make no goals. I don't set no resolution, because you done this for 15, 20 years, and your life still seems like it looked just as bad as it did 15 years ago, right? So now we got to go back to high school, because that's when my life was good. When I was 17, it was good then, right? Because of the fact that I haven't had any solutions to use again. So your job is to have solutions. I don't care if you have one of them. I don't care. The same way it takes you to get a new couch, that same process takes you to get you a new dining room set. That same process to take you to get you a new coat or whatever, right? The same process still applies. The same process that takes you to pray once a week is the same process that takes you to fast. It's the same process, even though you may say those spiritual things, right? The same process that takes you to get promoted in your career, the same process it takes for you to get promoted in your education. The process is the same, and you are the same person, and you still have the same life. You can't live my life, but you definitely can live your life, and you should. And you're gonna live a better life when you start having set goals, specific, established targets. That's what they are, right? So let me do a recap before I close it out, because my time is about up. So here's the thing for you. So we talked about how you have to actually, is your goal a like, a want, or a need? And if it's a like, we only do the things we like to do when we like to do them, and that's not enough to get have this total life achiever life or be a go-getter. If it's a want, we only do the things we want to do when we want to do them, and that's not that often. So because there's a whole lot of stuff we don't want to do. A need, we do the things we need to do when we need to do them, right? And when we need to do some things, then that's when we make these things goals. So another name for a goal is a need. Do I need to have it? Because I'm only going to do the things I feel I need to do to get the things I feel I need to have. If we don't feel we need to have them, then we won't do what we feel we need to do to get them. So we also talked about setting the goal, right? Got to be specific, right? You must be as defined as you can be. If you can't describe it, you can't have it, right? So you need to define these things that you say you need. Now, is this a lot more work? Yeah, it is. I mean, Is it easier? Is it more work than just saying I want that new car and just blink 3 times and everything? Yeah, it's a lot more work than that. It's not that easy. However, if you're a go-getter, you're a total life achiever, this is just some of the stuff you have to do, right? You just can't write it on paper and then walk away and say, see what's gonna happen. No, you're gonna do a whole lot of other stuff too if you want to be a total life achiever and achieve some things. Then lastly, it goes to how we solidify our lives. So before I close, let me just go and close and say, first of all, I appreciate you giving me the time and taking the time to look at me and have me help you share information from me about you achieving your goals in life and knowing how to set them and knowing how to get them. And keep in mind that great people like you were born great. However, to become in order to become a better person, you must work on yourself to become a greater you. And I'll see you next time.